Hey, this is Individual Perspective Podcast. I'm your host, Daris D, McKinney, and God willing, allow me to be able to be available to do this Birthright citizen reaction. The time when I'm supposed to be, it's, people, it's just craziness. But look, forgive my white shirt. I look like I'm too bright. I'm just too bright. Let me see if I can fix it. Okay, let me see. Look, I don't even want to be bothered with fixing exposure rates and stuff like that, But just, it's the filmmaker in me, That wants to gotta deal with the contrast and everything like that. Give a little bit of levity to it. Oh, that looks ridiculous. Guess we can't do it. Let me see what I can do here. Okay, put some more exposure up. Guess that's a little bit better. Seems like this thing is too close to me. Secret of the ooze. I don't know what's going on here. I tell you guys, sometimes, I can't wait to, put up the new set here. Okay, that'll have to do it. I'm not gonna fight with that too much. Let's see. That's good enough. How you guys doing? Look, we got to get into this Birthright citizen stuff. I want to say something really quick before I start ranting and raving like a maniac. You get what I'm saying? One, I'm not perfect. I made risky decisions in my life to get to the goals and the outcomes that I'm pretty much want to execute on. So sometimes you get bruised and cuts and wounds in the decisions that you have to make to get to where you're going. I'm not a person that was birthed into an academia situation where your parents are professors or judges or lawyers or politicians or some people that's got high calibration of astuteness to society and to the higher society. So, but my parents, they had really good education, and they actually knew how to transform all the degrees and all the intellectual academia situations that they had. They knew how to somewhat do a really good mending with street smarts. So most of the interactions that I naturally have comes from a broad spectrum. It's not just intellectual academia education, but it's also street smart. So some of that time you might feel that my grammar is not as on tune that it should be, and maybe when I'm reading something it's just a little bit messier than it should be, and it's because my psychosis and what my background is. And I always tell people, who you are from 5 to 13 years old can make or break you forever. So naturally, I have a warfare in my head from things that's part of my DNA, part of my upbringing, part of my natural causes and natural ability. Yes, I'm very kind of welled and tuned into academia and intellectual and high how can I say psychosis of human interaction, human dialect, and human human evolution. but also I'm very in depth with like killer instincts type of stuff. Very bird's eye view, very instinctiveness, and very intuitive, and very impulse reactive and everything, and I'm very in tune with both of the nature of a human being's ability. So I may not be the best at it, but I'm very in tune with both worlds. You get what I'm saying? Street smarts and very book smarts and intellectual stuff like that. I'm not the best at it. I'm not the greatest at it, but somehow I do have depth in impulse on both worlds. And the reason why I say that is because what I'm about to say for the next hour or so, whatever, I need you guys to understand that there's no cleanness even about me. I've dirtied up myself in finance and journeys and education and all that stuff, where I took the road that I had to take, and it may not have been the prettiest. You get what I'm saying? But what I tried to do, even when I was like 13 years old, where I can remember, I tried to be like credible and honorable and have a certain level of finite evolution to who I am, what I do, and what I say. Meaning that whatever I've done when I was 13 years old to now, I most kind of fought really hard to make sure that 20, 30, 40 years from now, it'll hold up. And it was a pretty good decision based on the circumstances. And I don't have to regret it. I don't have to look back on it and kind of be like, oh man, I hate that it went that way. I hate that it's going this way. Most likely I'm like, I got to come to terms, because that was the hand that I was dealt. That's the move on the chessboard that was very smart to make at that time. And from the moves that I could have made to get to the end results of checkmate, it pretty much worked out, and it seems like it's working out, that those previous decisions kind of gave me a decent move where I'm still alive on the game, on the chessboard. I'm still alive in doing what I'm doing, and I'm not completely destroyed, because what decisions I made, it was the best decision that I could have made at that time. So one of the things about President Obama is, I'm not gonna lie to you, man. I always tell people, hey, I voted for President Obama both times, and if I had to vote for him a third time to make him legitimate, I would. You get what I'm saying? And that doesn't leave me that I'm not self-retained. I don't have an individual perspective. I don't have an individual identity. I don't understand what my individual rights are. I don't have individual strength and dominance to respect Daris. I have to respect myself. I have to respect my identity. You can't walk around hating yourself or not believing in yourself or not trusting yourself, because that's how society wants you. They want you where you don't know what moves to make. You don't know, you won't even make a move because you're scared of your own shadow. You're scared of your own outcome. You're scared of your own, what they call, not responsibility, is, you're scared of your own consequences to decisions and things that you make or you do or you say. I'm not. I'm fully alive, fully aggressive in, I wanted to say that today and forever. I don't ever have to second guess why I said that. I don't ever have to second guess why I did that. I can uphold it, and I can give it credibility decades from now. That's how I am. So when I say that, I look at our society and I look at just the way, like, we look at our politicians, our movie stars, our musicians, just the people we look up to. And I think that most people, we talking about most people, and I mean about 80%. 80% of the population of the earth, 80% of the population of America. I believe 100%, 80% of people are subjects of somebody else. Meaning that they're not really doing them. They're not really speaking them. They're not really feeling them. They're not really being in existence as them. Most of the times they're something like they're from their family, they're from their culture, they're from their society, they're from their groups and social dynamics of the people they're around and stuff. Most people are that. You get what I'm saying? They're not really individuals, like living an individual life that's theirs. And trust me, most people have great upbringings, really good upbringings, good mimitations of being who their father was or their mother was, or the society, their culture, their teachers, their neighbors, and all that. So some people come from a foundation that all they got to do is mimic their surrounding. All they got to do is mimic their surrounding, and it's awesome. It's awesome. You get what I'm saying? They got good outcome from it. That's 20%. You get what I'm saying? That's a 20% of the 80% that may be like that. Most people, 60% of the most people, 60 to 80%, they kind of going through the motions. They're almost reactive to society and culture and trauma and where they come from. You get what I'm saying? So I birthed individual perspective decades ago to have a conversation intellectually, kind of psychosis conversation of having a thought process in a communication with people to say, hey, I think it's better for you to say fuck your family, fuck your society, fuck your community, all that, and forgive my language, and become you. Sometimes through the process of vetting and pros and cons and doing a deep analysis, you'll find out your mother's right, your father's right. They got good foundation of who they are and what they taught you and what they gave you, and insight that they're communicating to you, your teachers, your community, society, politicians, or something. Maybe sometimes you'll find out through the vetting that they did give you good information. They do tell you you are a good subject of these people you follow, these people you mimic, these people you react to. You get what I'm saying? That's rare. And most of the time, people are subjects of somebody else. You are doing your life the way somebody else deemed you should do your life. You get what I'm saying? And so for me, I build this channel, build individual perspective, intellectual communication and debate to say, I think it's better that you do you are who you are, and that you allow yourself to how can I say you allow yourself to be a subject of you. That you heard what your mother said, but you listen to it and then you say, okay, using pros and cons and intellectual and understanding how you phrase that, where the commas are, the punctuations are, and what that word means to the logicness of the structure of what you're communicating. This is the outcome that's just what it is, and it's objective, and you are wrong or you are right. And so in that situation, that's what I'm more concerned with. And when I talk about this birthright citizen, and I'm going to come back to Obama, I'm doing a Trump weaving. I'm talking about philosophical things, and then I'm coming back to my point, okay? When I talk about Obama, like I said, I'm so grateful for Obama being president, because that would have sucked to not have that in my lifetime. You get what I'm saying? Country's turning 250 years old in the next 3-4 days, 4-5 days. It was kind of be ridiculous not to have the first black president. It's just, look, come on, y'all. It's like, because that's the makeup. That's the foundation. That's where you can say, like, shit, man, even the black people had a hand in the White House. Even the black people had a hand in the Capitol building. Even the black people had a hand in the Constitution and how you debate the Constitution. That's the foundation. Now, all the people that reap the benefits off of it, look, we treated y'all better than the black people. We treated Hispanics better than the black people. We treated Asians better than the black people. We done that. So don't make it seem like we don't hold you high in value. We do. Economically, socially, who we try to look at ourselves and who we try to put ourselves up to certain cultural things. We are feeding off of this the Hispanic culture, the Asian culture, the Arabic culture, and stuff like that. That's the big confusion fight within the country when the money is here. You get what I'm saying? That's why you got, from 1990 to 2026, that's why you got black people getting totally screwed on economic growth. Because we bank on the economic growth of Hispanics. We bank on the social dynamics of Middle East, and we bank on the intellectual prowess of the Asian community. We bank on this. We put money, trillions of dollars, into making sure Hispanics, Asians, and Middle Eastern Arabic communities are powerful and strong in our society. We do. This is not a lot. This is not a debate. It's real. I'm having a conversation with whites, blacks, Asians, Hispanics, and Arabic community to say, okay, do we understand what individual rights are? Not races and all that stuff. All that stuff is mushy and messy and has already been decided. Ain't nothing we can do about it. There's laws. There all kind of stuff that been completely scandal to give the society that it is now. Now I'm saying, okay, now we gotta be realistic about us. I think society right now, the way it is, and probably the next 20 years, is an individual thing. Like, you got to take care of your individual self. You got to get the things that you individually can get. You got to make the accomplishment of your individual self. You have to be self-centered. You have to be self-indulgent. You have to be one-minded, narrow-minded to your outcome. That's the society we have. That's the society. Our laws, our economic, our judicial system is focused to that. It's not it's not fair. It's not just. It is completely corrupt. It's corrupt, and it's like the value of each American citizen is based on your economic value, your social value. That's it. That's it. It ain't about that you are an American citizen with American rights. The Constitution got bent so much and got destroyed so much 17th, 18th, 19th, all the way up to the 27th Amendment. It got completely trounced. Since I say our country in the actual experiment of building an individuality society that was best for the individual that was killed and destroyed by FDR Roosevelt in the 1930s. It was completely destroyed. So our country has been a failed experiment and a failed constitution since 1930s. Everything else is illogical, is manipulation, is propaganda. It's not to be respected as what an individual person's rights is. It's a collective now. It's who's got power, who's got the stick. You get what I'm saying? And that's the truth. Okay? Now, when President Obama decided that he didn't even care about the individual citizens or black people kind of their value as a citizen. If the first black president is willing to dilute the value of a black American descendant of slaves, then come on, y'all. You can't hold Hispanics and Arabic and Asians and white people to the standard if we don't respect it. If all the arguments when they were forming the 14th Amendment says, hey, this law is to make sure that we give validation to slaves and the descendants of slaves. If it says that, if the debate and the argument is said that in the framing of it, and then you got to remember it says the jurisdiction of, okay? And we're going to go into that. But like I said, I'm going to put my disclaimer up because I said a lot, and YouTube and everybody's so shady with individuality and freedom of speech. You got to put your disclaimer up. Okay, let's get back to it. Birthright citizen. You know what I mean? We kind of at it. You know what I mean? Look, the only person that was gonna ever fight something like this and who actually has a right to citizenship is Donald Trump. Okay, you hate him. Look, I'm not telling people to vote for Trump. I'm not telling you to support Trump. I'm just saying if you don't know how your government work from 2015 to 2026, you'll never understand it. Your IQ is not high enough to understand this stuff and read the tea leaves, okay? This is shady. Do you understand that? Our country is corrupt and a mess. It's a mess, okay? It is completely dog shit, okay? This is just the way it is. I'm trying to be honest with you. I really am, okay? And I understand that's brutal. I understand what I'm saying is just ridiculous and disrespectful. And it's like, I'm not supposed to be talking like this. It's crazy, okay? I get it, okay? So, like I said, we were talking, I didn't know that my volume on my clips were kind of pretty down when I was actually playing the, this conversation that they were having on the previous episode. Let me see. That's low, man. Let me play that and turn that up so we can make sure we got it.
Right now, Professor, it's good to see you in person. All right, so you're the professor and I'm just a student. But when it comes to the birthright citizenship, it doesn't look like it's going to go the president's way. But during the oral argument, it didn't seem there was much conversation on the original meaning of it, which it was for the kids of slaves.
That's right. You could tell in Chief Justice Roberts' comments that the weight of history was heavy for him in terms of precedent. But what was often missed is that some of the people who wrote the 14th Amendment said this does not apply to birthright citizenship, and there's very good arguments against it. But we may.
And that's the point. I just wanted to make sure that our volume is up because we about to see the update stuff because now they have ruled on it. You get what I'm saying? And I know this episode is really crazy. I got great people in my life that are Asians, Indians, Hispanics, all kind of stuff. And these are real, like they are citizens, and they are in the jurisdiction of when their parents came here to now. We're not talking about people that were green carding or that they got married into, they came in legally and they got married to an American citizen. We're not talking about people that gained entry into America legally and they were married to an American citizen, or the American citizen kids were offsprings from their relationship with a foreigner or something like that. We're not talking about that. We're talking about illegals coming in, and then they so happen to be they came in during their 8th month and they had a baby here while they were in detention or while they were going through the process of asylum or immigration, claiming to become a citizen and all that stuff, and they under DACA, some bullshit like that. We're not talking about that. You get what I'm saying? We're not talking about real American citizens. We're talking about that. We're talking about people that just came through the border, that just came to say, hey, you gotta take me. You gotta take me anywhere I come in. Any way I am, you gotta take me as a citizen. That's who we talking about. As when a baby was delivered, it was delivered as wherever they came from because they are still a official citizen of wherever they were birthed from. You get what I'm saying? If an American and a Mexican has or a Venezuela has a baby that baby is an American citizen. Why? Because one of their parents is a descendant American. And they are an official American citizen. It automatically grandfather in. What do you mean my baby can't stay in America because one of their parents is a foreigner? See, that's crazy. Logically, that kid should be given citizenship if it's a descendant of an American citizen. You get what I'm saying? Two Hispanics coming over here, the mother and the father, or just the mother coming over to America, and then the mother gives birth here, but the actual baby daddy is in Mexico, and they both from Mexico, and the mother just had a baby on American soil. That should not make the kid an American citizen. In any other situation that may fall under that kind of demographic or situation. But look, jurisdiction of. That's the argument is not if a kid is born in America, do the kid automatically become American citizen. That ain't the argument. That's not the argument. They try to frame it as that's the argument, but that's not the argument. You get what I'm saying? All persons born or naturalized in the United States of America is subject to the jurisdiction thereof. That's a comma after that. Are citizens of the United States or in of the state where is they reside. I gotta say that cleaner, and I need you guys to understand that's a comma after thereof. Then what they're saying, all persons born and naturalized in the United States and subject to the jurisdiction thereof are citizens of the United States and of the state wherein they reside. Do you understand? Citizens of the United States in of. Once it says in of, it's saying our laws of citizens of the United States dominates and populates over state laws. Do you understand that? That's why they say any person born or naturalized and they're under the jurisdiction thereof are citizens of the United States and of the states that resides in the United States. Meaning that the principle is the United States of America, the federal government. So whatever the federal government gives a citizen, make a person a citizen of the United States, that supersedes any state law, any regulation, any laws that may be placed upon that American citizen in any of the states. The states need to make sure that when they make a state law, that it abides by the constitutional federal government statute, and that's the Constitution. So if that's the argument, then that all when you say a person is naturalized or born is subject to the jurisdiction thereof, the United States of America. Man, give me a second. I gotta take this call. Give me 1 second. Hey, what's up? Oh, yeah, I'm so sorry. I'm supposed to have text back. Yeah, I did. Thank you. Appreciate it. Nah. Oh, wow. Well, I'm not going to take up too much of your time. I'm going to let you go do your thing. Call me as soon as you get some free time. Okay. Thanks again. Yep. Okay, sorry about that. You know, we're live. We're doing it live. Okay, sorry. Okay, back to what I was saying before I got rudely interrupted, which it was all right, you know. But that means I need you guys to understand No state shall make or enforce any law which shall abridge the privilege or immunity of a citizen of the United States. Meaning that a citizen of the United States is not a citizen of California. It's a citizen of the United States. That person is a citizen of the federal government, of the actual Constitution. They are American citizens, not California citizen. There's no such thing of a California citizen. Michigan doesn't have a citizen that's a Michigan citizen. That Michigan citizen is a citizen of the United States of America. They're not a citizen of Michigan. They reside in Michigan. They live in Michigan. They have a Michigan how can I say valid where they live at and they reside in, okay? So when you read that note, and I want you guys to understand everything that's jurisdiction thereof. No state shall make or enforce any law which shall abridge the privilege or immunity of a citizen of the United States. Semicolon. Not semicolon. It's an extra there. Nor shall any state deprive any person of life, liberty, or the property without due process of the law. What law? United States of America citizen law. That's what they're going by. Nor deny to any person within its jurisdiction the equal protection of the law. Meaning that a state can't not claim an American citizen. They have to give the American citizen right to move there, buy a house there, and all the other stuff. Because they're American citizen. They can reside anywhere they want in America as long as they pay for the rent or the apartment or the house or whatever the actual jurisdiction of the protections of the law where they can move and do whatever they want. They have the right to that. Okay, so that's by me reading that, no state shall make or enforce any law which shall abridge the privilege or immunity of the citizen of the United States, nor shall any state deprive any person of life, liberty, or property without due process of the law, nor deny to any person within its jurisdiction the equal protections of the law. That all means that it's all based on subject to the jurisdiction of. So that means we have to say, what is jurisdiction? What is jurisdiction? That's what you got. That's the argument. That's what we got to rule on. That's what the Supreme Court need to rule on. What's the jurisdiction of? If a natural citizen or born citizen is subject to the jurisdiction of, what does jurisdiction of the United States of America is? What is that? It says natural. All persons born or naturalized in the United States is subject to the jurisdiction of the United States. That's what it means. So what does jurisdiction means? The official jurisdiction means this: the official power to make legal decisions and judgment. Okay? That's what jurisdiction means. It means that you are such an official American citizen that you have the decision and judgment making of an American citizen. If you're not an American citizen, you don't have the jurisdiction of the United States of America. You haven't been granted that power. It says the official power to make legal decisions and judgment, meaning that your judgments and the decisions that you make while you roaming around in America is based on, are you an American citizen? That's how the Supreme Court was supposed to rule. I'm not getting paid hundreds of thousands of dollars like the Supreme Court justices, or like the Senate, or the congressmen, or governors, or mayors, or judges that sit on a bench in cities, in states, in appellate courts, or Supreme State courts, or the Supreme Court, the U.S. Supreme Court, or the U.S. Attorney of the DOJ. And all these people have failed to do their job and ruled on the job. And we allow a third branch of government. The Supreme Court is the third branch of government. What happens if they're wrong? What happens to them? Who holds them accountable? If you got Congress and you got the executive branch waiting on the judgment of the Supreme Court, what holds them? What guarantees that they are making the right judgment ruling? Because we know we have an absolute case right now that they ruled incorrectly. The jurisdiction, like the subject, like any statute that comes or any amendment that comes that says anything that takes away, how can I say, if any laws or statutes are written that are not under the jurisdiction of the United States of America for a citizen or a person, not even a citizen, a Homo sapien roaming in America, it has to all abide by, is this person under the jurisdiction of the United States of America? You cannot be under the jurisdiction of America until you take a solemn oath, a pledge of allegiance, and you're given a green card. You get what I'm saying? Or you're married into an actual marriage with an American citizen. You get what I'm saying? Or you were birthed from an American citizen. That gives you immunity. That gives you the privilege of the jurisdiction of United States of America citizenship. All this other stuff is noise and it's corruption and it's manipulation and it's propaganda to not be able to sustain or hold accountable the structure of what is supposed to be going on with the Constitution. It's the truth, y'all. Half of the American citizens are enemies. It's just the way. If you're against the Constitution, we all have an argument. If half of us are looking at the Constitution, or if the other half of us is looking at the Constitution in our own perspective, is on our own perception, on our own like theorized judgment of what the Constitution means. And the Constitution is what it is. Words are what it is. So we make all these different amendments, we make all these different statutes to make it very foggy and make the line so blurry that you don't know how to define what's is and is not. What's legal and what's not legal. It's all based on a subject of circumstances. People go to jail and they get their life destroyed and they get their life ruined because they don't have the power to fight their perspective. That's what's going on in our society. So, in that situation, I wanted to talk about this birthright citizenship because I do need everybody to understand our country's, it's not good. And we all try to not say it, you know what I mean? We try to not really communicate negativity like that. But the truth of the matter is, we have to all be realistic about the time we're living in. People hate Trump because Trump is the first time we had to look at how corrupt our country was. Not what he did to make it corrupt, but what oppositions against him. Because I want you guys to know the number one reason why Walt Disney, Paramount, Warner Brothers, the most important media conglomerates and the most people to tell stories and get visualization of narratives, the most powerful studio companies that make Avatar and Titanic and Avengers and all this stuff, they have put billions billions of dollars of propaganda and narrative to make it seem like Donald Trump is the boogeyman. And why did they do that? Because the number one reason is even your heroes, musicians and movie stars, they found out that every human citizen, every American citizen don't have the right to become president. It's only who we deem that should have the clout, that should have the aura or the actual background in society. They should be descendants from lawyers, or they should be lawyers, or they should be military generals, or they should be governors, or they should be vice presidents, or they should be part of a cabinet of a presidential administration. These are the people that should become president, not just any American citizen over 35 years old. The Constitution says any citizen over 35 years old has the right to become American citizen with the backing of the people. That's what the Constitution says. That's what becoming a citizen is. Why do you think these great minds that has a document that we debate and we fight over for 250 years, why do you think those people limited to say, hey, only requirement that we put on American citizens that a person can become president, only requirements that we put on a person become a citizen, a president. Let me repeat that. I'm so sorry. I'm rambling and I'm going off. I told you guys I was. Why you think that the people that built the Constitution, written the Constitution, a document that stays so legitimate and so coherent and so purposeful even in 2026, why do you think that they only set a limitation to become president that you had to be 35 years old and you had to be an American citizen, born an American citizen? Why do you think that they set that requirement? Because they knew an American citizen comes in and they actually sees the corruption, they got a bird's eye view, or they got common sense, or they got a perspective that could kind of say, why y'all doing that? Why you doing that? Why are we making that judgment? Oh, if I'm gonna send military people in harm's way, I want to be able to know it's just the best decision I can make in this situation, and I should make this decision. They could evaluate a point of view from people that's outside of the bubble. The Pentagon is in a bubble. They look at things in a military process. The Congress is in a bubble. They look at things as legislative and debates and the power of a senator or a congressman. The people in the executive branch, they kind of, in the actual employees, they've been federal government employees for so long, so they kind of look at a bubble. So to oversee all these people, they make sure that they bring in people that are American citizens. That's why. So I'm trying to go to give me 1 second, because I want to see the latest of the Birthright Citizenship. Okay, so this will be the latest one. Okay,
Shannon, we have another decision, and it's a big one. It has to do with birthright citizenship. It was an executive order that President Trump, on day one of his second term in January 2025, signed the executive order. It was immediately challenged, and now we can tell you that the U.S. Supreme Court has ruled against President Trump's order to limit birthright citizenship. Shannon, we have talked for some time about the president feeling that he would not win on this one. The question is, why not?
Mm-hmm. Okay, right off the bat, it says children born in the United States to parents unlawfully or temporarily present are, quote, subject to the jurisdiction of the United States and are citizens at birth under the 14th Amendment's Citizenship Clause.
They just reading. They not making no sense of that. You just read the jurisdiction of. It's not just like we just saying that shit. It's all persons born or naturalized in the United States and subject to the jurisdiction thereof. Meaning that if you're born, if you're naturalized like you just like you are under the jurisdiction thereof, meaning that you born and naturalized in all persons born and naturalized in the United States and subject. See, we don't give a fuck who born and naturalized. Naturalized meaning that you're like that you actually took the oath. What the fuck are we talking about? Admitted to the citizenship of the definition of naturalized is admitted to the oh, Jesus Christ, I'm blinking out so much. I'm sorry, y'all. Give me a second. Naturalized, the definition to naturalize means admitted to the citizenship of a country. Not admitted to the territory of a country, admitted to the citizenship of a country. That means that you're given citizenship. You're subjected to the jurisdiction thereof America. Now they say all persons born or naturalized in the United States. I want you guys to understand. The reason why a person born is not naturalized or has the power of naturalization or has the rights of or the jurisdiction of the United States of America. Why? Because they are not subjected to it. If an illegal immigrant is an illegal immigrant and they cross the border and they're claiming asylum and they're doing all kind of crazy shit, they're not under the laws of the United States of America. They're purgatory. They're in holding. They are not guaranteed citizenship. It says all persons born and naturalized in the United States of America. And it says in subject, meaning that you got to be born and you got to be naturalized. You got to be born or you got to be naturalized, and you have to be subjected to the jurisdiction thereof, the United States of America, meaning that you have to be under the laws and be able to make decisions and have the legal protections of the United States of America laws. Okay? We can't just give that to people that just cross the border. You get what I'm saying? They in holding. They are not guaranteed any like lawful citizenship under the federal government. None. No matter if you cross the border, no matter if we held you in court, maybe we held you in a detention center, you're not subject to the laws and the actual legal binding citizenship of America. You're in holding till we see the validation of why the fuck you here. That's why it says all persons born and naturalized in the United States of America, that you're born or you're naturalized, but naturalizing gives you the jurisdiction thereof. So all persons born or naturalized in the United States it says in subject to the jurisdiction thereof, meaning that you are an official American citizen. You got to be not only born, not only naturalized, but you got to be subjected to our laws, meaning that we gave you official citizenship. You already a subject of our laws to be given the jurisdiction thereof. It's ridiculous. You get what I'm saying? So I'm sorry. I'm blinking out. I know. Fuck it.
So look how this broke down. As we expected, the Chief Justice wrote this opinion. Justices Sotomayor, Kagan, Barrett, and Jackson joined. Jackson has a concurring opinion in which Sotomayor joins. Justice Kavanaugh files an opinion concurring in the judgment and dissenting in part. The dissent comes from Justice Thomas. He is joined by Gorsuch, Alito, And then Justice Gorsuch apparently has his own dissenting opinion. So it is what we expected after the arguments here. And it looks like a bit of a split, but enough of a plurality coming together to say that the executive order that the president issued very quickly upon taking office.
Bit of a split. It was 5-4. That was 5-4. But two Republicans went over to the liberal and unconstitutional side. It is ridiculous. Well, look, man. I think we all down the rabbit hole. I want you guys to understand. I do not argue for our world to change, for our world to become just, for our society to become accurate and intellectually honest and just. I don't argue for that. We're down the rabbit hole. I always tell people to be judged by your peers is a terrifying and almost destructive situation. Your fellow citizens is dumb as fuck. They not to be trusted with your life and the things that you hold dear. You get what I'm saying? They not. They're under the perception of what morally is coherent to them, is favorable to them. And your rights and your individuality should not be based on morality. It should be based on fair, just, and what's fair to you as an individual. There's consequences of doing something unmoral. You get what I'm saying? But you having the ability to do something that's immoral is in the eye of the beholder. It's in your power to do that. And that's just the way it is. We don't like that. Like I told people, what President Obama's presidency showed people is that they hate their freedoms. Most American citizens found out they really don't agree with having total control of their own life, having total autonomy of their own safety. And people found out that they didn't like that. Republicans and Democrats, conservatives and liberals, most people side with the up in the air and totalitarian elite decision making over the people. That people of society, elite society, of higher society, of power society, they make the decisions for the majority of the people because the majority of people too dumb to really make decisions for themselves. That's somewhat what we are making laws, we're making statutes, we're giving rulings, and how societies conducts with all people in America is that if you got enough money, if you're rich enough, if you're popular enough, if you got political power, if you got statute power, if you got judicial power, then you get to make the decision for majority of society. The debate is with them, the elites, not with the citizen. Trump came along and he kind of almost blew up that random people, random voices out of society, out of the actual people get to actually give their opinion, and their opinion can be considered by the president. That the movie stars, musicians, the media, news organizations, senators, congressmen, judges, the attorney generals, attorneys, they hate that shit, and they've been fighting it for 10 years. That's what's going on here. So I'm going to leave it with that. It's sad to say you got to be almost a killer and a go-getter. And I'm talking about a killer in your own goals and your own economic standing and your own power of what you're trying to do in your life and what you're trying to accomplish in your life. You got to be a go-getter, aggressive person to your life and what you want in your outcome. That's the best you're going to get out of our society now. It's too many foreigners. It's too much blurring of the lines of what is a person supposed to, their mindset supposed to be as an American citizen. It's too noisy. It's too messy. It's too illegitimate to uphold a society that's not of just society. So this birthright citizen shows is an official decision to show that something is not just about even the Supreme Court. If something's not just about the Supreme Court, then that means something's not just about state Supreme Court. If something's not state, it's just about the U.S. Supreme Court and state Supreme Court, then something's not just about the appellate courts. If something's not just about the appellate courts in the state Supreme Court and the U.S. Supreme Court, then something's not just about our city courts. If something's not just about our city courts and the appellate courts and the state courts in the U.S. Supreme Court, then there's something's not just about our attorney generals. If something's not just about our attorney generals of the states and the U.S. attorney generals and the Supreme appellate courts and the Supreme Court, state Supreme Courts and the U.S. Supreme Courts, then something's not just about our lawyers. If something's not just about our lawyers, you get what I'm saying? In our courts, meaning the judges, in our appellate courts, in our state Supreme Courts, in our U.S. Supreme Courts, then something's not just about our statutes. If something's not just about our statutes, that's not, and if something's not legitimate about our city courts and our attorney generals and our attorney, U.S. attorney inside of each state and city, in our appellate courts and our state Supreme Courts and our actual U.S. Supreme Court, then that means that there's something not legitimate about our city, our congressmen and our senators that passes the statutes that give illegitimate to the statutes, that give illegitimate to the city attorney generals and the U.S. attorneys, in the state judges and the city judges, that gives illegitimacy to the appellate courts of the states, and it gives the illegitimate to the U.S. The state Supreme Courts, and give illegitimate to the U.S. Supreme Court. And if all those things has illegitimacy, then that means you got illegitimacy in the people. I know that's a lot. I know that's a crazy rant that I just took. It is just a lot of jargon, a lot of kind of quoting of the situation. But I hope I made that clear. And I'll say it one more time. The people, and the illegitimacy of the people, and the confusion of the people, and the unjustness of the people give illegitimacy to the city, state, senators, and congressmen. And the illegitimacy of the states and the congressmen and the senators of the state give illegitimacy to the state attorney general, and the illegitimacy of the attorney general in the states attorney general gives illegitimacy to the actual appellate courts. The illegitimate of the appellate courts give legitimacy to the state Supreme Court, and the state Supreme Courts give illegitimacy to the U.S. Supreme Court. Why? Because all those people are passed up. So U.S. Supreme Court gets the Supreme Court justices from Supreme Court justices through different states, from lawyers in different states, from judges from different states. Do you understand that? That's where they come from. And the same thing comes from the appellate courts and the state Supreme Courts. The same thing that become like attorney generals are from all the judges and they can become judges, and they grant them because the law degrees from lawyers and all the other stuff. So it's just, I hope that made that clear. My blood pressure is going up because I'm pissed about the illegitimacy of our country, and it's official. That's the scary part about the last 10 years. It showed you our country's dead. People celebrating the 250th anniversary of America. I love America. I think it's still one of the greatest things that's ever created under the sun. A great world that we have in America and the way that we conduct ourselves in society and stuff. But to what it was supposed to be, where we supposed to be at right now, it is complete failure. And it's only getting worse. People say, oh, it can get better. No, we got worse from 1930s. Nothing was up. Nothing went up. The last time our society actually gained, like, just for an individual citizen was 1930s, like before the 1930s. Since the 1930s, has been a decline. More laws got taken away, more rights got taken away, more constitutional rights got amended and watered down and diluted and devalued, and certain things got really destroyed, and an attack of individuality became more and more and more and more and more through like the Iraq War and 9/11. All that stuff got worse. More of our rights got taken away. More of our constitutional just system got taken away. So since 1930s, our country been getting worse. It never went up and been more just. It's got worse. Even when the people try to fight against the decline of individual citizens' rights and their just with the election of an actual American citizen, you get what I'm saying? Not saying that all the other presidents wasn't American citizens, but they were part of the system. They were part of the bubble. They were either senators or congressmen, state senators, state congressmen, lawyers or judges or military men or something like that. They were part of the system. They were part of the bubble of government. But Trump, he came in as a citizen, straight the fuck up citizen. And the reaction to that is what happened in the last 10 years. And we are not allowed to run our country. That's what it told you. American citizens are not allowed to run this country. Only the elite government officials. Okay? I let it go right there. And yeah, this is bad news. It's not just bad news on some birthright citizen stuff, which that's pretty big. You get what I'm saying? It shows you that you got to fight for your own life, your own freedoms, your own stability, your own individuality, and you have to do it without getting swallowed in the corrupt system, which most people are subjects of the corrupt system. So, look, all we can do on podcasts is have the conversation, okay? My name is Daris D. McKinney. I'm your host of Individual Perspective Podcast. I hope you guys get something out of this and my gibberish is not so confusing and messy. My reading is not so messy. And you guys get the point that I'm trying to give. And we lost the country, y'all, but I want you to understand we lost this since 1930s. It's just been getting really bad. Really bad. Okay? Check you guys out. I hate to leave on that somber note. Like, share, subscribe. Check you out.